Hello, this is Cindy with CJ Wilkes Photography and Pixel Lobby. I am going to show some things about frequency separation today. And so this is the image I'm going to use for demonstrating. I am not going to do the whole set up the frequency separation. This is for people who already have it set and want to know how to use frequency separation. Usually if you already have it set up, you would have either a high and low unless you've changed the names to be something else. I title it, instead of frequency separation, in my programming, I title it skin. And so under skin, I'm dealing with the high and low frequency. High deals with texture and low deals with the color. And as you get more familiar with it, you learn how to use it. Now at this photo shoot, we were on a very foggy day, and just prior to this, we had done some shooting in the forest, and the mosquitoes got at my model, and so she had some big red areas and bites that were scratched on the shoot, and I knew I was going to be editing those out. So here I am. I get in really close usually because I like looking at what I'm working with. This is at 200% right now. Sometimes I'll go closer. It just depends on exactly what I'm working on. But mostly what I'm going to be working on are these little marks. Now I'm really careful to leave things such as moles. If it looks like a scab, then I'll remove it. Usually though, you will see some redness around it if it's a scab. And so I kind of just go by feel. I don't want to get rid of any of the permanent marks. So the high level, like I said, works with texture. And texture is the first one I'm going to start with. I'm going to use this patch tool and just get rid of the different marks. And this is, like I said, is on the this is on the texture layer. Now, things to think about when you're doing this. Like I said, I'm using this patch tool, the spot. I like this patch tool. Some people like to use the spot healing. I prefer the patch tool. Basically, with the patch tool, I have it set to source on normal and the image. And all you do is you circle the location and then find a patch which looks similar to that area, and then it will clone that into that spot. So you'll see the marching ants around the spot. I find a fairly clean spot, because if you don't find a clean spot, say this one, you can see that little white mark there. If I go there, it will leave that white mark. It will take whatever you grab. So I try to find a fairly clean piece of skin, or I will make the skin look worse than it was before. So let me go through this really quick. This is probably a mole, but it looks like a scab, so I'm going to get rid of it. Same there. She's farther away, so it's not as important that I be super specific to what is mole versus what is a scab. Okay, and I just go up and down the arms, look really quick. That looks like it could be a scab or a mole. So I am going to just get rid of it. Again, a lot of it is just me choosing, because I don't memorize my clients' moles and scabs. So if I think the mole, it'll look like a mole, then I'll just leave it. But if it looks too much like a scab, it's got to go. Other things I do is, like, if the skin is looking like a line, or the image isn't perfect, then I fix that. Okay, so now I went through, it looks good enough. However, I look at her skin and it looks splotchy. So there's a red spot here, there's a red spot there. I really don't do too much, but when I'll go to the color portion, which is the bottom portion, and I'll still use the patch tool. I will take that red spot and I'll move it to what I would like it to look like a little bit more. There we go. You can see it just kind of evens the tone out. Here it's shadowed, but I don't want that red so much, so I'll take it. There we go. And it just kind of blends it a little bit more. If they've got big spots, sometimes you want to get in and fix that a little bit more. You can, but I don't usually play too much here unless I'm working on a certain. This is a shoot where I do some other editing later, and I do some fine tuning. There's so much you can do. This is just a quick tutorial on what you can do to help even out the skin tones. So as you can see, she'll have whiter spots like right there, which is normal. But if I want to darken it up a little bit, I can just grab the skin there and it evens the tone out a little bit. Now right here, I might want to add a little bit more color. So I can drag it to the darker area and make it look like her skin is a little bit more even and not so much like a bikini line. Same here. We made a mistake. So I'm just going to back up. And I'm going to grab just the skin portion, because you don't want it to drag that dark out and like it just did. So that evens it out just a little bit more. Now, if you want to get really, really technical and, more accurate, and I can show this in another video, but you can always add a layer. So sometimes I'll just add another layer right here. And what I'll do is I will take the paint and I will press Alt, or just get the, choose your color and you can sample this way. If you don't use the color picker, then you just hit Alt and press on a spot. But let's say I want to color this in a little bit more to look more like her skin. I will choose a color close, like that peach right there. That'll work. And sometimes, and then you get your brush and you can start painting. There we go. And you don't have to paint a lot. I mean, you can just paint a little bit here and there. Obviously, if you get crazy. If you want to paint in another section, be sure to press Alt and choose another color closer to that area so that it looks more like that area. Just little touch-ups and it looks more like what I want it to. Here, I'm going to press Alt again and click so that I'm closer to what her skin is there. Let me back up. There she is before. And if I turn off the skin layer, you can see all the markings. And I turn on the skin layer, and you can see we've already evened out a lot. The other place, let's say you choose not to use this layer, turn off that layer, go back down to the paint area, and you can choose the skin color and paint directly on this layer. So I'll press Alt, choose the color I want to use, and paint it right there on that paint layer. You don't want to do it on the texture layer because it ends up being an odd color. you want to make sure you're on the color layer. So right here, I will press Alt, click, and start painting. And I make sure I lower the opacity so that it's not some drastic color. And then I'll press Alt again when I want to choose another color for that area. It's really important that you pick colors near where you're working. It'll make a big difference. But the reason I don't always do it right on the paint layer, that I create another layer, is I like to use the patch tool for these two layers. If I use a separate layer for the skin, sometimes I find I can make it look a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer, and I can change the opacity. I can also change the blend mode. So I can use it, or I can use the paint layer. It's really up to you. It's really a matter of preference. I just find I have more control if I have a separate layer that I can use just to paint certain spots, again, to make it look a little bit more smooth, a little bit more even. But you can work it to the point where you can get it fairly smooth and nice just on the low layer. Anyway, this is on frequency separation. This is Cindy Wilkerson, and I am with Pixel Lobby and with CJ Wilkes Photography. I hope this little tutorial helped you some. Thank you.